There is a specific type of person who should never, ever be given power over other people's money. You know the type. The bean counter. The guy who spends $10 of company time to save 10 cents on a stapler. My nemesis was named Gary. He was the new financial controller, and he declared war on me over a 25-cent parking variance. I'm sitting here looking at the final audit report of his department. It's beautiful. It's a massacre. Gary wanted to save the company money. He wanted fiscal discipline. So, I gave him exactly what he asked for. By the time I was done following his rules, I had turned a $600 flight into an $8,400 catastrophe. And the best part? He had to sign the check himself. I work as a field service engineer for high-end medical equipment. MRI machines, CT scanners, that kind of stuff. My life is basically that movie Up in the Air, but with less George Clooney and more sleeping in airports. I bill my time at $250 an hour. When a hospital's MRI goes down, they lose thousands of dollars an hour. My job is to get there fast, fix it fast, and get out. For 5 years, the arrangement with my company was simple. Get there ASAP, keep the client happy, and be reasonable with expenses. I didn't fly first class. I didn't stay at the Ritz. But if I needed a direct flight to save for hours, I booked it. If I needed a coffee, I bought it. Nobody cared about receipts under $20. The company made huge margins on my work. It was a relationship built on trust. And then, corporate hired Gary. Gary was the new global expense controller. He sat in a cubicle 1,000 miles away, and apparently his sole purpose in life was to make my life miserable. It started with an email. Subject: Expense report rejected. I opened it, confused. I had just come back from a grueling 3-day job in Chicago. Gary wrote, Item 4B, parking meter, amount, $2.25. Receipt shows, $2. Please explain the discrepancy of $0 to $5.25 or reimburse the company. I stared at the screen. I put a quarter in the meter because the job ran long. The meter didn't give receipts for coins. I replied, Hi Gary, I put a quarter in the meter. No receipt. It's 25 cents. Can we approve this? 2 minutes later. Ping. No. Policy for point to states all expenses must be documented. Resubmit without the $0 to $5.25. I sat there for a moment, doing the math. I make $250 an hour for the company. That's about $4.16 per minute. It took me 15 minutes to redo the report, rescan the documents, and re-upload everything. That 25-cent dispute just cost the company $62.50 in my lost billable time. But I did it. I thought that was the end of it. I thought, okay, he's just being thorough. I was wrong. He was just getting started. A week later, Gary rolled out his masterpiece. He called it the Cost Reduction Initiative. He sent a company-wide memo. The new rules were insane. They were written by someone who had never left their desk. Rule 1. No per diems. All meals must be itemized. Rule 2. All flights must be the lowest logical fare. And here was the kicker. Rule 3. Any flight over $500 requires pre-approval from finance, and employees must choose the absolute cheapest route regardless of duration, unless the layover exceeds 8 hours. Regardless of duration. That phrase burned into my retina. I called Gary immediately. Gary, I said, this is going to kill us. If I have to fly to Seattle, a direct flight is $600. The cheapest flight might have to stops and take 12 hours. I bill for travel time. You're going to pay me $250 an hour to sit in an airport. Gary's voice was smug. He sounded like someone who enjoyed saying no. It's not your money to spend, op. Travel time is billed at a lower internal rate now. We need to save on hard costs. Just follow the policy. I took a deep breath. Okay, Gary, I said. I will follow the policy. To the letter. 2 days later, it happened. A massive MRI failure at a partner hospital in Tokyo. It was an emergency. The hospital administrators were screaming. Patients were being turned away. I needed to be there yesterday. Normally, I would book the direct flight from Lax to Narita. It takes 11 hours and costs about $1,200 for a last-minute economy ticket. But I stopped. I remembered the policy. Lowest logical fare. Must be approved. So, instead of clicking book, I logged into our corporate booking portal. I found the direct flight. $1,200. Then I sorted the list by price. Low to high. And there it was. The Gary special. It was $900. A savings of $300. Gary would be so proud. There was just one small problem. The route wasn't direct. The route was Los Angeles and Denver, Frankfurt, Germany, Tokyo. It wasn't flying west across the Pacific. It was flying east. The wrong way around the world. Total travel time, 34 hours. I smiled. I took a screenshot of the two options. I emailed Gary immediately. Gary, urgent trip to Tokyo. Direct flight is $1,200. I found a route for $900. It saves $300. However, the duration is longer. Per your new policy, I should book the cheaper one, correct? I purposefully didn't mention the exact flight path. I wanted him to hang himself. I waited. 10 minutes later. Ping. Correct. Book the $900 option. Savings are priority. Approved. I printed that email. I framed it in my mind. And then I booked the flight too. Here is the part Gary didn't understand about billable hours. My contract states that for international travel, I am paid my full hourly rate for the entire duration of the trip, door to door. Not a reduced rate. My full rate. Because I'm carrying delicate equipment and I am technically on call to protect it. By forcing me to save $300 on the ticket, he added 23 hours to my travel time. Let's do the math. 23 hours x to $150 an hour equals $5,750 in extra wages. But wait, it gets better. The layover in Frankfurt was 7 hours. Just under the 8-hour limit required for a hotel. Did I have access to the business lounge? No, Gary cut that perk last week. So I sat in the general terminal. I was exhausted. My back hurt. I bought food. Airport sushi, $28. Terrible coffee, $9. Another sandwich, $15. And since I was working for more than 12 hours straight, I hit the California overtime laws. Double pay after 12 hours. So those last 22 hours of travel, they weren't $150 an hour. They were $500 an hour. I arrived in Tokyo looking like a zombie. I fixed the MRI in 4 hours. The client was happy, but confused why I looked like I had walked there. Then I had to fly back. Gary's policy applied to returns too. Lowest logical fare. So, I flew Tokyo to Istanbul and New York blah. Another 36 hours. Another massive block of double time overtime. When I finally got home, I slept for 2 days straight. Then, I woke up, brewed a pot of coffee, and opened Excel. And I started typing. Usually, a trip to Tokyo costs the company about $3,000 total. Flight, hotel, wages. I submitted my expense report for the Gary route. Flight, $900. Look Gary, I saved money. Meals, $450. Airport prices are insane, sorry. Wages travel time plus double overtime, $7,100. Total cost of the trip, $8,450. I attached the screenshot of Gary's email approving the route. I hit send. And I waited. The next morning, my phone rang. It wasn't Gary. It was the VP of Operations. The big boss. Op, he said. His voice was dangerously quiet. What the hell is this expense report? $8,500 for a simple repair job. I know, I said innocently. I tried to book the direct flight, sir. But it was $300 more expensive. Per Gary's new policy, I had to take the cheaper route. Here is his email approving it. Silence on the line. Long, painful silence. He approved a 34-hour travel time to save $300. The VP asked. His voice was shaking. Yes, sir. Fiscal discipline. I was just following orders. I see, the VP said. Expense approved. I will handle this. The check cleared 2 days later. The next week, the cost reduction initiative was quietly canceled. We got our per diems back. We got our direct flights back. And Gary doesn't work here anymore. Rumor has it he tried to argue with the VP that he technically saved on airfare. It didn't go well. I bought a very nice bottle of scotch with my overtime pay. And every time I take a sip, I toast to Gary, the man who spent $8,000 to save 25 cents. Here is your survival protocol. Micromanagers only care about one thing: rules. They love rules. So, give them exactly what they want. Follow their rules so perfectly, so literally, that it destroys their budget. Never argue with an idiot. Just hand them the calculator and let them do the math themselves.